Hi, I'm Shelley Maurer,
And I'm Cher Emmerich. Welcome to Life Lessons from Pickleball,
where we engage with pickleball players from around the world about life on and off the court.
Thanks for joining us. Welcome, everyone, to Life Lessons from Pickleball. Oh my gosh, how fun it is for us to have Beth Abu-Haydar as our guest today. Beth, you have had such an interesting life, and especially beginning with your birth in Beirut, Lebanon in 1956, and then you attended a French school and spoke Arabic and English at home.
Wow, Beth, trilingual. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Can we start? Tell us about the Lebanon you grew up in.
The Lebanon I grew up in was really idyllic. You know, it was the golden era of Lebanon. My mother was American. She had met my dad when my dad was studying in Massachusetts, and she was a very courageous woman. She just married the love of her life and moved across the oceans, hence speaking English at home with her, Arabic with my dad, and French in school. We were a new country that had recently been gotten independence from France. So there was still a lot of French influence at the time in Lebanon. But it was really just, people call it the Paris of the Middle East at the time. And because the food and the climate and the lifestyle, and there was a lot of international interest in the country. So I grew up with really a lot of influence, multicultural influence, which was was a very rich experience growing up. I came from a very, very large family. My dad was one of 9. So I had, 32 cousins, it was raucous. It was a very, very fun time growing up. We had our differences, but we always had to get around my grandmother's table at Sunday and be civil and have a good time together. Yeah.
She kept you all together.
She kept us all together.
Well, and what I didn't realize, what you talked about in what you'd written us earlier, is the beaches and the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us.
Well, Lebanon is a very small country. It's about 120 miles long and 40 miles wide. And
Wow.
so it's a stretch of coastline, 2 chains of mountains, and valley in between. So we often kidded that we could go skiing in the morning and then going to the beach in the afternoon in April. So it really was, it's a beautiful topography. It's the landscape is actually gorgeous. And the climate is fantastic. Clearly the country is going through some major, upheavals right now. And it's very sad to see that happening. But, I am hopeful that, golden days will come back at some point, because there's a lot of entrepreneurship, there's a lot of innovation, there's a lot of, love for the country all over the world. So, yeah.
Lovely. Hope that returns as well.
Yeah.
And so when did you leave Lebanon?
I left in 2 waves. I came here initially in the late 78 to pursue a master's degree at the University of Michigan in the School of Public Health. And then I went back and worked at the American University of Beirut School of Public Health for a few years, and then came back in 82 to pursue a higher degree at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
My goodness.
And then I stayed.
And what made you stay?
I met Steve, my husband. That was one of the major reasons I stayed. And the second reason is the country really was in the midst of a really terrible civil war. And it was just an opportunity to be here. And obviously it wasn't feasible for my husband to go back there with me and work at the moment. So we decided to stay here, and he got some advanced training in Seattle. and we fell in love with it and ended up, putting roots down in Seattle.
Another place where you can go to the mountains and go to the beach and
Yeah, exactly. That
and
was
then you
very
start
important for me. The other
yeah,
choice
right?
was Ohio, which is, I'm sure, very beautiful, but I needed the water next to me.
I'm very much that way. I came here for the lake. I nothing else. I couldn't go anywhere else. I just kept being pulled by the lake here. So yeah, that's very cool. So then you started working at Path. Tell us about that.
PATH is a international health organization, global health organization. When I started, it was 29 people, mostly Peace Corps returnee Peace Corps volunteers. So it was very exciting for me, having come from overseas, to be surrounded by people who had experienced living abroad. And I worked there for many, many, many years. And today it's an organization that's about 1,600 people with 27 offices around the world. And really, they do amazing work. Very, very much a from the ground up type of an organization,
Yeah.
working to really understand and help address some of the key issues, key health issues in developing countries. So all the work they do, we do. I no longer work for them. I'm retired, but they do is based in developing countries.
And I am very moved by the one advancement that you were a part of for women giving birth. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was a project I worked on for about 15 years, and women all over the world, and even in this country, sadly, still are dying during childbirth from excessive bleeding, and it's really mostly a very preventable condition with proper care and follow up during pregnancy. But when it happens, it's an emergency, a very, very dire emergency. And the most countries that are under resourced don't, women don't have access to emergency services. They're often having their babies at home or in very, very rural areas, very far away from health services. And when they do get to the facilities, they don't always have the blood supplies or the necessary surgical procedures. So we worked very hard on looking at what are some of the things we do here to prevent and treat women who are hemorrhaging, and then how can that be transferred overseas. And we worked to basically take a device that was designed by a doctor in Bangladesh out of their need, and work with a company in South Africa to design it and test it and introduce it at a fraction of the cost that it is available in this country. So a balloon tamponade is what the device is called, is costs $350 here, and we were able to have it manufactured and approved and regulated out of South Africa for less than $10, so that
Oh,
services could have access to it. And of
oh,
course, this involved a lot more than just developing a device. We had to do human trials. We had to get approvals from WHO and other major health organizations. We had to get regulatory approvals. Ministries of health had to be able to introduce that and include it in their budgets. And of course, the training then on the use of the device. So it was a commitment, but a very, very amazing experience for me. And I met some amazing people in the process and worked with top experts around the world to come up with something that was available. And it is now, currently being used in quite a few countries.
Wow,
saving lives,
what
saving lives.
rewarding work. Wow.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
say, I'll say, wow, thank you for that. On behalf of women everywhere, thank you for that. So, how did pickleball enter your world?
Oh, what a wonderful time of life. Well, it was like probably many of us during COVID. We were all working, our life was kind of upside down all of a sudden. I was on, Zoom calls starting from 5 o'clock in the morning, and because all our work was on Zoom, as you all experienced as well. And so luckily in Washington State, we were still allowed, to go out and enjoy the beauty of our environment. And I would go out for walks, and just to clear my head. And I was walking with a friend one day and she goes, you know what? I started playing pickleball. And I'm like, what is that? What a weird name. How does that work? She goes, don't worry about it. Just come and play. It's really fun. And so, she dragged me out because I was like, I don't know how to play, all the anxieties about not knowing how to do something. And she said, let's just go. So she, we got out on the court and I was like, wow, this is really fun. I can do this. I was a squash player, so I had a little bit of hand-eye
Yeah.
coordination.
That's it. I knew there was something.
Um, and, um, and then I started playing and, was, I would say, pretty hooked immediately. And then, we had a group of friends that we were all still working. And I said, let's go out at night, and play. We can do it safely. I'm with my husband on one side, we were in our little bubble and we started playing and we would just go out at night. We found these lit courts. It was November, January, and December and January in Seattle. So we were wearing almost our hiking and skiing clothes to go out there.
Right.
By golly, we were determined to get out there and play. And honestly, this group of friends, we were good friends, but we have become incredibly good friends as a result of this. And of course, I've met a lot of many other friends, Shelley and many others in the process. So that's how I got into pickleball.
In fact, Shelley can speak personally about that.
You want me to? Do I have to admit that she beat me?
Yeah, only once.
Yeah.
Only once. I've been on the other side of your racket as well. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? How, well, Shelley and I met the very first day that I stepped on the pickleball court. We both had a lesson at Eastside Tennis Center in Kirkland, and that's where we met. And we've been fast friends ever since. And we have this whole big community of friends now, and
Amazing.
it's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
It's remarkable. Yeah, and we get to meet amazing people like you on this podcast, and the ways that you're changing the world, and then in the same time enjoying this amazing game and meeting all kinds of wonderful people. So what kind of what life lessons would you say you've learned maybe while you were playing on the court and thought, oh, that's a good thing for me to remember when I'm in, living my life, or lessons that you've learned in life that you really put into play when you're on the court, or maybe you learned in your work or living overseas, or what are some of the insights you have?
It's hard to jump into something new in life. We all are faced with new tasks at work, new responsibilities, parenthood, and it's sometimes you just say, oh, I wish I didn't have to do this. I just kind of want to, but jumping into something new is always exciting. And, once you're able to do it, and if you're lucky to have a mentor or a friend to drag you out on the court, or a mentor at work, and you do it and you realize, wow, this is stimulating, invigorating, new challenge, and little successes make me feel really good about it. And, it's just, it's good to mix it up in life, and I think that, in my work, I traveled a lot, and some of the travel was really hard, and some of it was very, foreign, and some of it, I was I was in Uganda when there was an Ebola crisis once.
Oy vey. Oh
But
my goodness.
you look back on these experiences and you think, um, every new experience is enriching, and pickleball was like that. It was a new experience, and it came at the right time. We needed something really positive during COVID, and it was so enriching and so invigorating, and community building. And so I think for me, I look back on that, and I just think, I had a friend who pushed me to do it, so it was easier than just walking out on the court on my own. But I think that is a good life lesson. That sometimes jumping into something new is can be really positive.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely. That's good, because sometimes we don't. If you wouldn't have jumped in, you would have really missed out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Are any of your Path former colleagues playing pickleball with you, or?
I'm trying to get them out there. I have a couple that are newly retired that we've been trying to get out there, and because that would be fun, to reconnect that way. We stay connected at other levels, but it'd be really fun to be connected that way. And I
Yeah.
guess the other life lesson is, with pickleball, we are so competitive in our culture and society and life, and this was a game that was really just fun. I mean, it gets more competitive as you get better.
It does. Yeah.
But for me, my biggest memory of it starting off was the laughter on the courts, and just the pure joy people were having. Even when the ball went like wacky to the other side, there was this big laughter. It wasn't, oh my God, I'm so bad at this, I need to get going. And I mean, I'm sure we all have some of that in our heads, but that things can be fun without having always to be competitive, and that's something I'm trying to hold on to sometimes.
Which would be a good balance even for the people who are still working at Path or any other organization, especially when we're working in those fields that are very demanding, high stakes, life changing, life challenging, and then to have this outlet that's just
Mm-hmm.
recess. It's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we actually, one of our guests has a company where they do pop up pickleball, and they will
Oh.
set up an entire court. They'll bring all the paddles, they bring all the balls, and companies are now doing pop up pickleball for their company to do bonding and
Mm-hmm.
networking. And
Oh.
Path, I think, would benefit a lot from something like that, because you all
Mm-hmm.
are doing such amazing work there.
Yeah, I like the word recess that you use.
Yeah.
I like that. That's it's just, it's a break from the demands of life.
It
Yeah.
is indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
How might our audience support Path? It's a nonprofit, right?
It's a nonprofit, and it's all grant based. All our work is grant based. So it's part of the job that's probably the most difficult, is continuing to write grants and get money from the US government, from the Gates Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, other foundations, but also, personal donors. And we have had, people who have found the mission to be very, spoke to them, and donate money to whatever projects they want. Some are more interested in maternal health, some are more interested in our vaccine program, some are more interested in our HIV/AIDS programs or malaria programs. So there are definitely ways to do that, and always appreciated. I think the best way would be to go to the website, which is path.org, and take a look at some of the work that the organization is doing, and see if it speaks to anyone.
That's lovely. I definitely want to promote that. I learned about PATH when I first moved to Seattle, and I was so moved by all the work that was being done. And it's been amazing to watch the evolution of the organization. It was 25 years ago almost
Yeah,
that I came. So,
yeah,
yeah, pretty impressive.
yeah.
And very grateful for the work that you did. I'm very moved by the women's lives that you have saved because of the work that you've done. Childbirth, dying at childbirth, even here in America, particularly women of color, it's insane how many don't survive. And so the work that you're doing is really changing the lives and saving the lives of so many women. I didn't expect to get so emotional about this, but
Oh,
yeah, it really touches me. Thank you so
thank you.
much.
I was a small piece of the, but I met, midwives who had seen moms dying, and it's traumatic. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's very traumatic for them. So it's good to know we have, there's a solution. So that's what we have to keep
Yes.
working towards.
Yes, yes, indeed. And all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Or on the court,
Or
as the
on the
case may
court.
be.
Yes.
Well, Beth, how fun. And Shelley has talked so lovingly about the time that
Oh,
she's had with you on the court. And it really means a lot that you've taken the time to talk with us. And I look forward to seeing you on the court too.
yeah, same here. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. And Shelley, see you out there. But Cher, I do hope that we can cross paths on the court sometime. That would be really fun.
Look
Yeah.
forward to it. Thank you so much. And
It's
thank you. Go ahead, Shelley. What
no,
were you going to say?
I was just gonna laugh and say it's not supposed to be competitive, but watch out.
I know. I'm
Just a
trying to keep that under wrap.
just a little bit competitive.
Yeah.
Competitive with a smile.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Beth. Thank
Oh,
you for
thank
being
you.
with us.
Yeah, great
And
talking to both of you. Thanks.
thank
See
you.
you around.
And thank you to everybody. Wow, thank you for joining us today. I can't believe how emotional I am, but wow, how lovely that there are people in this world who are saving lives, changing lives, and I am a firm believer that pickleball is one of the things that's helping to change this world. So, hope to see you all on the court, and we look forward to another conversation next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you love our podcast, we'd be so grateful if you'd take a few seconds to follow or subscribe to Life Lessons from Pickleball. This ensures you'll never miss an episode and helps us continue these wonderful conversations.
On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, go to the show page and tap the follow button in the top right corner. And on YouTube, click the subscribe button under any of the episodes.
Thanks so much. Hope to see you on the court.